Hi guys, the Benidorm Enthusiast here. For today's video, we're going to be going through some recent stories that have been in the media about holidays in Spain. It's summer and Spain always hits the front pages at this time of year. You'll often see things like Spain holiday warning, tourists face fines and things like that. Media outlets are fully aware that millions of Brits are travelling to Spain in the summer, and these sorts of headlines are bound to grab attention and get people buying the papers or clicking on internet links. What also happens often is that people don't read the full story and just take the headlines on face value. We're always inundated with messages asking for confirmation of the stories, whether they apply to Benidorm or not, and so on and so forth. So today we're going to be sifting through some of the stories out there at the moment and let you know if there's anything you should be worried about and if indeed these stories apply to Benidorm at all. If you're enjoying our videos, give us a thumbs up, click the subscribe button, it's totally free, and also click the bell so you don't miss a minute of Benidorm stuff. So the first headline that we're looking at is from The Sun, and it reads, "Holiday warning as tourists face massive £800 fines for jumping in the sea on Spanish beaches." What's this all about? Well, first of all, this is nothing to do with Benidorm. It only applies to certain areas in Spain, and small areas at that. You won't be fined for jumping in the sea here. This headline refers to a safety measure at certain places in Mallorca where people have been jumping off the jetties into the sea. Later in the story it says, "Crowds flock to beaches in both Alcudia and Muro for their beauty, boat excursions and to lie on the sand while sinking into a good book. However, officials have been forced to step in over safety concerns as reckless swimmers are using the jetties as a makeshift diving board. At least 2 jumpers were hospitalised this summer, whilst countless others are said to have misjudged the dive and sustained injuries. The beach safety coordinator said they have now brought in a hefty fine in the hopes it discourages holidaymakers from diving in. The fine for jumping into the sea from the jetty is €900, although no fine has been imposed up to now." So this is not applicable to most areas of Spain. For most resorts, it's completely irrelevant news. Definitely not Benidorm. In fact, here during the summer months, they actually put platforms out at sea so you can swim out and jump off into the water as much as you want. And we have the sea water park in summer, which is like an inflatable assault course in the sea. Lots of jumping into the sea going on there and no fines being issued. The next headline is from the Daily Record, and it reads, "Latest Spain travel rules for tourists including bikini ban and alcohol laws." Now, the main problem with this headline and the paragraph that follows is that it implies that this is something which is applicable to the whole of Spain. And of course that's going to get people coming on holiday here worried. It continues. "People who have booked a holiday to sunny Spain this year are being urged to know about a few rule changes that have come into force for tourists. Spain is a hugely popular holiday destination for people from the UK, but the country has experienced some rowdy behaviour from tourists and has introduced some new regulations in order to clamp down on the disorder." It's not until you get further into this article and you find out again it only applies to certain parts of Spain. Bikinis and swimming shorts are fine to wear when chilling at the pool or beach, but some parts of Spain have banned people from wearing them whilst walking the streets. Good news for those of you coming to Benidorm though, there is no bikini ban in place here. You'll see hundreds, if not thousands of people walking to and from the beach in their swimwear. Sometimes people don't even make it back to their accommodation to change for the evening and end up staying out all night on the town partying, still in their cosy or shorts. This particular rule about swimwear away from the beach applies to some parts of Mallorca again, but also Barcelona, which the paper does reveal later on in the article. In hotspots such as Barcelona and Mallorca, topless men and women wearing bikinis face fines of up to €300 if they're spotted walking around away from the beach, including adjacent streets. Another headline, which was also mentioned in that Daily Record article but gets brought up all the time now in the tabloids, is about limiting alcoholic drinks. The latest article in the Daily Mirror has the headline, "Full list of Spain's new travel rules for Brits, from smoking bans to drink limits." Well, first of all, the drink limit in question isn't new. It was brought in during 2022. And secondly, again, it isn't applicable to the whole of Spain. And this definitely isn't applicable to Benidorm either. More details are revealed further down in the story. Holidaymakers heading to Magaluf, El Arenal, Playa de Palma in Mallorca and San Antonio in Ibiza are now being limited to 6 alcoholic drinks per day. These will be distributed evenly between lunch and dinner, meaning tourists will only be offered 3 drinks per meal. Any extra alcoholic beverages will need to be paid for. The new law will apply to some resorts on the islands, including Ibiza and Mallorca, as well as some hotels in the Balearic Islands. So, just to confirm, there is no 6 drink limit at all-inclusives here in Benidorm. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you won't be refused service if staff deem that you've had too much though. It does happen, so take it steady guys and drink responsibly. Over to the Liverpool Echo for the next headline, which says, "Spanish businesses won't serve Brits in football tops or swim shorts." What makes me laugh about this headline, which again isn't Benidorm related, to me this headline implies that it would be just the Brits which would be refused service. Obviously that would be completely discriminatory and unfair. It goes into more depth later on. A group of restaurants in a resort on the island of Mallorca have enforced a new dress code. Tourists visiting restaurants in one of Spain's most popular resorts have been warned that they can't enter restaurants if wearing football shirts, swim shorts or glow-in-the-dark hats. Business leaders in Playa de Palma say they have already been fed up with so-called drunken tourism, and even though the season has only just started. A group of restaurants in the resort have clubbed together to impose a new dress code which all tourists will have to follow, or they will be refused access. You're more than welcome to wear football shirts in bars and restaurants here in Benidorm. I don't know of any places here where they have a football shirt ban dress code. And they're certainly not banned in the street, which I was also asked recently. Wear your club colours with pride if you wish. Back to the Sun now for the next story. The headline is, "Spain holiday warning as Brits jetting abroad for summer could be fined £700 for listening to music." Again, looking at that, you would think it applies to the whole of Spain rather than one small town, which is actually the case. And again, you'd also think that it was just the Brits being targeted. Spanish summer holiday killjoys have imposed a new crackdown on Brits abroad, now fining tourists for listening to music. Visitors have been warned they face being hit in the pocket to the tune of £700 if caught playing seaside sounds too loudly. Later in the article, it does say that this is for the town of Chipiona in Cadiz, which is a small town down in the south of Spain. So just to be clear for you, it absolutely doesn't apply to Benidorm or most resorts here in Spain for that matter. Here's some more from that story. It's been revealed tourists heading to Spain this summer are at risk if blaring out music too noisily on the beaches of Chipiona in Cadiz. There is a threat of £260 fines for people with sound equipment and musical instruments, and offences deemed more serious can see the penalties rising as high as £780, consumer website Health Plan Spain warns. They urge anyone heading to that region to pay extra attention. The Atlantic coastal town of Chipiona sits in Cadiz, an eastern province which boasts the most blue flags for high quality beaches. The last thing I want to talk about today is smoking on the beach, as this hits the headlines a lot. There are a lot of smoke-free beaches in Spain now, mainly in the Balearics and Barcelona, but even in our region in the province of Alicante there are a few. The nearest to us is La Cala Finistra, and you could be fined for smoking on that beach. But smoking is not prohibited on any of the Benidorm beaches. You won't be fined for lighting up on a beach here. You could be fined if you don't take your tab ends with you though, the same as leaving any litter behind. It is prohibited to leave rubbish on the beach, but the act of smoking is not banned. That last one will divide people. I know smoking is always a topic of debate. We saw it on our recent video. People rarely agree on it, but the fact is that here in Benidorm, it's not prohibited on the beaches. I'm intrigued to know if any of our viewers have actually ever encountered firsthand any of these issues. Have any of you been fined for wearing swimwear away from the beach in Barcelona? What about the all-inclusive limit on drinks in some of the Balearic Island resorts? Has that put you off going there? Or maybe the opposite? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, guys. We always read through them, even if we don't reply to every comment. We enjoy reading about your experiences, and I'm sure our other viewers do too. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, click the beer mug on the screen, and also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok at the Benidorm Enthusiast. Stay positive and stay safe.